Everybody. So we're gonna do nosing and tasting today. I am sorry we weren't able to get it in yesterday. It was well, it was a busy day for me, so things were a little crazy with ferment and still. Had to get some things taken care of, so all of your tequila got shipped out, and your mezcal and your racia and everything. Wanted to make sure it all went out, and so we had to deal with a bunch of stuff. And it's only the second week that the site's been in existence, and it's been crazy. So I'm always fighting for you guys. So I wanted to make sure everything got out. Good news though is we've got some great new stuff on the site today. If you didn't catch it, the Artenome Selection 1123 from Cascaween is back in stock, and so is all of the Tequila stuff is back in stock. We got what else came back in stock today? There was a bunch of stuff. Oh, we added Pura Sangre today, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing with their high proof Fuerte Blanco tequila, which is tasty. And if you haven't seen my review of it, it is up on the channel. So that is going to be my one that I'm going to be tasting with today. I love this high proof Blanco, and the best thing about it is it's cheap. It's really inexpensive, which is good. This is the house brand for 1146, for the same one that makes Artenome 1146. They make Don Fulano, they make Tres Cuatro Cinco, they make a bunch of different stuff. So all of their tequila is great. So this, I actually prefer this Blanco over the Don Fulano. I know people are like going crazy over the Don Fulano Fuerte. I like this one better. And it's made with a full copper pot still, instead of a blend between copper pot and column still. And that's, I think it's better, and I think that's why they kept it as their house brand versus contracting it out like they did Don Fulano and some of the other brands that come into there. So all right, so what are you guys drinking tonight? What are you going to practice your nosing and tasting with? Let me see what you guys have on tap, and then we'll start getting into glassware first, because I think glassware is really important. I think it's something we need to talk to. So Cliff says he just poured a glass of Espinita Reposado to let it breathe for a couple minutes, and he's ready to go. Great. You don't really need to let it breathe, though. I mean, if it's been open before, you don't need to let it breathe. All right, so everyone's saying salud. Hey, salud. Good evening, which is salud in English. Salud from Tired of Fools. And he says, part of the fun of being in the business is I did that for decades. Well, work does come first. I got to make sure everything's taken care of. All right, so we have someone with El Tesoro Blanco. You're going to have fun with that one on nosing and tasting. Lots of stuff to explore and some really good Blancos, which is great. All right, so first, let's talk a little bit about glassware. Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Muy bien. You're waiting for your shipment to arrive tomorrow, so I'll have more chance. Oh, great. That's perfect. Yes, the shipments went out, and everybody's, a lot of them went out, so a lot of people are getting their stuff. Oh, okay, the El Tesoro Extra Niejo, the regular or the Paradiso? That's the question to ask. Just poured some El Tesoro Repo in a champagne glass. Works great in there. Okay, great. About to try G4 Extra Neo for the first time. Oh, very good. G4 Extra Neo is very good. You'll enjoy it. Espinita Añejo in my Denver and Liley. Very good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about glassware. So there's many different kinds of glassware. There's a lot of people use the Glencairn, and I put a graphic up as the thumbnail of this on the glass structure itself. Glencairn was made for whiskey. It wasn't really made for agave spirits, but it works. Okay. It works well. It doesn't work great. It works well. So with this, you've got the bowl, and or it's called the boot. So you have the boot in there, and that's where your spirit should sit. And you shouldn't fill it up too high because you want the spirit to be able to spread out a little bit and get some exposure to air in it. And if you notice when I do my reviews, I always swirl around the glass, and that's, you know, to start to get air into the spirit to let it breathe. So with the Glencairn, it also has a nub on the bottom that you hold on to when you're drinking. Where when you're looking at the Jarrito, which is made by the same company, it doesn't. And so when you're holding it, you know, you warm up the spirit a little bit, which isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. It, you know, causes the alcohol to release a little bit, but also brings the temperature of the spirit up to, you know, closer to what your body temperature is. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a great glass. This is my go-to glass. And one of the things that's really nice about this glass is that it does have a flat surface with the boot. So it allows more of the spirit to get air to it, to open up. And you also, you know, I also swirl around this when you see my videos, because you want to get, you know, air in it and get it to kind of just start opening up a little bit. And then when you're looking at the top of it, now if you notice on the top, this Glencairn has got a thinner nose to it than the Jarrito does. You can actually put the nose almost, yeah, it's a little thinner. This has got a wider nose to it, so it allows more to come out at the top. So the Denver and Liley is a completely different animal, where it has the boot, but it's a wider boot. Okay, so it allows this spirit to spread out and kind of open up a little more. It's got a flat bottom as well. And then it's got a base, so your hand's not warming up the agave spirit. And then the way the top is actually formed on it, what it does is, if you notice the way it's got a kind of a bend right here in the middle, and then it opens up. What this does is it allows the alcohol, the ethanol and stuff, to come up the middle first, and then allows the other aromas and stuff to expand. So you're not getting ethanol right up in your nose like you would with the Glencairn and the Jarrito, a little less than the Jarrito because it's a little wider. So when you're looking for a glass, you know, even a wine glass will do if you don't have something like the Denver and Liley to work with. But you want something that's got a little wider mouth on the top of it, so you're not getting straight alcohol hitting your nose first. And you want to have something that's got a rounded base to it. Now, even the champagne flutes that people use, those are fine. They have a wider base to it. They're skinnier coming up top. I have the, do I have them around here somewhere? I have the Riedels. Actually, yeah, here, let me show you. I've got one. Let me unplug and grab, I've got them back here. It's all dusty because I never use it, so you have to excuse the dust on it. But these are the Riedel glasses, and these just, you know, it's got thinner at the base, and it comes up, and then this allows the spirit to expand in it. I don't like that it's so thin at the base that it's going to pull more in the bottom. But this was kind of like the first glass that was designed for agave spirits, and then it eventually came out where there, you know, the Jarrito came up, and then the Denver and Liley. So I don't like this one as much too, because you get a lot of the alcohol, the ethanol hitting your nose because of the opening on this. But you know, this was the first attempt at making a glass specifically for tequila and agave spirits. And when you go to the distilleries, they use a version of this. They use one that's a little bit wider. It's a tulip glass like this. But a lot of them now are starting to switch to glasses, but these are expensive. So they're not buying a bunch of these right now. So when I go do tastings, most of the time they're in a glass similar to this, a little bit wider, a little bit fatter at the bottom though, that they use at the distilleries. All right. So now that we kind of went over glassware a little bit. So if you get a wine glass, a snifter, a brandy snifter or something like that, and you just finished watching okay, great. Yeah, that Blanco is really good. And if you like spicy cocktails, you got to get one of the pepper expressions as well. Yes, if they're thin and you're not, and your spirit's not letting your spirit open up, you're not catching as much. And that's what I noticed, when I switched. What basically happened is one of our viewers said, "Hey, have you seen the Denver Lily Glass? I'm really loving it, better than the Jarrito." So I bought one to try it, and then I tried it and I was like, "Oh my God, it really does allow the spirit to express more than the Jarrito that I was using before." The Jarrito was my favorite. I started with this one. I was using the Glencairn too, because we bought a bunch of Glencairn glasses for the collective. But the Jarrito was better, and it was my favorite. I bought a bunch of these. I still have them up on the shelf over there. And then I switched to this one, and now I had 4 of these until I broke one the other day, which made me cry. All right, so grab your spirits out, and let's pour, and let's get into that. Wider in the middle, smaller on the top with this. Okay, yeah, it could be okay. Globes are fine. I like it when they're have more of the flat area to allow everything to expand out more versus pooling. All right, so I'm going to pour my Pura Sangre Fuerte. By the way, if you're a Blanco lover, $39.99 on fermented still. Great. It's a liter. It's a liter, and it's 43.5% alcohol. This is a really nice Blanco. If you're looking for a budget high proof, this is the way to go. Stock up on it. We got a good supply at fermented still. It'll become your favorite budget high proof Blanco for $39.99. You can't beat it. All right, so I poured it in the glass. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just swirl it around the glass a little bit. Get it, some air touching it, and get it so it's, opening up a little bit and getting some exposure to air and getting it around the surface of the glass too, because by doing that, you're also allowing it to open up as well around the surface of the glass. Dustin, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I love it. Thank you. Oh, good. The Don Filano 5-year, the Imperial, is great. Yeah, it's a great XA. Beautiful flavors on that French oak, and it's just, and I love it. It's great when you're smoking a cigar. If you really want to have a good cigar XA, that one's fantastic. I love it. We're getting Don Filano on ferment and still. We should have it shortly. We're just waiting on pricing from the distributor. So yeah, it's a very good price. $39.99 is a very good price. And it's a very good high proof Blanco. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our nose just over the top of the edge of the glass. And you just want to start smelling. All right, and so start just commenting on some of the things that you smell. I want to see what you guys are smelling as you're nosing it. And what you'll notice is that you'll get, like this has got a nice minerality to it. Like if you've ever smelled inside a well, like the well water. So you want to pick things out that you've had experience with. There's no right or wrong answer to it. Everybody has different experiences, so everybody knows what different things smell like. And so just start naming off things that yours reminds you of on the smell. And that's how you start out with the nosing. Now, when I always say cooked agave a lot, or cinnamon and baking spices, because if you've ever been to a distillery and you've grabbed a piece of cooked agave that's just come out of the horno that's cooled down, and you've bitten into it, or they're autoclave, and they'll give you a piece of it and they'll say, "Here, try." And you get this big hunk of piece of cooked agave, which you put in your mouth and you pull like sugar cane. You don't swallow or eat the fiber, because it's just, you just don't want to do it. So you put it in your mouth and you pull it like this while you and extract all the sugars and stuff out of it. When you do that, it's got a really strong molassesy, cinnamon and baking spices flavor to it. Very sweet and tasty. It's like candy, from a plant. So you want to look for a little bit of that cinnamon and baking spices and stuff in it. And try to think of something that you have that's cinnamony, and see if you can identify that in the nose. Because cinnamon and baking spices is what cooked agave looks for. You should always try to find some of that in there, except, you know, for stuff that where it's done in a more mineral environment, like the new Cosecha 2018, where it's like super minerally. But you should be able to smell some of the things. Like for this, I get a minerality in it, like from the water. I get like a really clean, crisp water smell from it. And then I definitely pick up the cinnamon and baking spices coming through on it as well. And if you need to stick your nose in a little further, you can. And then it's got a fruitiness to it, like citrus. Like if you've ever been in a citrus grove, like I live in Riverside, California. It's the home of the navel orange. Okay, so we have citrus groves everywhere here. And in the springtime, you get all the orange blossoms everywhere. And so you can pick up the orange blossom smell. And so you can identify that here very easily living in this area, since it's the home of the Washington navel orange. And so I definitely pick up like orange blossom and citrus. Like if you've ever chopped open an orange and smelled it, there's some of that in there as well. It's got a little bit of grassiness. Like you can pick up, like when you cut the lawn and you take the shavings and you pour it into the trash can, or your I don't know if you guys have the trash cans for your lawn stuff like they do here for they compost it, but you can smell like the cut grass. Or even if you cut your lawn and you open up the bag to catch the clippings, and you get that smell of just fresh cut grass. It's got kind of like that smell in there too. All right, so let's see what you guys are getting. Espinita has a bit of fruity sweet. And there you go. So you say fruitiness, you're picking up some fruit, alcohol scent, but no burn. Okay, yeah. All right, bust out the Don Pilar. No, it's not an additive bomb. No, Don Pilar is not additive bomb. You're safe. Don't worry, JP. All right, what alcohol? Maybe cinnamon. Okay, yeah. Like you can smell like a cinnamon candy and stuff, or I like to think of it more as like a baking cinnamon, like a cinnamon cookie kind of smell, because it's got that sweetness in it, where the cinnamon candies tend to be more like Red Hots, and those don't really have that kind of smell to it. All right, so Ubaldo's getting some vanilla and caramel in the Altasora X. Yes, definitely vanilla and caramel in that. Now, are you picking up a little bit of cinnamon mixed in there too? Like a cinnamon cookie or cinnamon or nutmeg? You know, if you're not familiar with those smell like, what a good thing to do is just go down into your kitchen and pour some cinnamon in a bowl and just kind of swirl it around and smell it. And then you in a different bowl, you could put some nutmeg and smell that. And see, that's what happens when I was going through my sensory training, because I was a certified beer judge. So my job when I used to go around competitions judging beers was to be able to identify flavors, identify things that were off in the beer, and then make recommendations on how they could fix it. Also find things that were from fermentation, identify this is from fermentation, or this is from not cleaning your bottle, and be able to identify these things. And so when we went through certification on this and sensory training, they had a kit that was like this big with a bunch of different vials with scents in it. And so we spent weeks, I mean, it was months, going through this class to get certified, where they'd pour the vial into something and you'd smell it and say, okay, that's root beer, and root beer's not, you're not supposed to have a root beer smelling beer. If your beer smells like root beer without it being like a root beer extract added to it, then there was a infection in your fermentation, or in your that happened, and that's not good. You don't want root beer in it. And chances are, if you open the bottle on that, it'll geyser all over you and stuff. So there's things in there that you had to be able to identify. And it's the same with this here. And if you want to understand what baking spices smell like, pull out some baking spices that you use for bake cookies or cakes and stuff, and put them out in different bowls and smell them and get used to the scent of them so you can pick them out. And that's important that you do that. Or find things that you have had experience with in your life and identify those. Vanilla, oak, and a trace of honey. There you go. Okay. Very good. That's very good. Also, Tesoro Repo definitely has the baked agave aroma, citrus, and nice peppery nose. There is this nice sweetness to it. Great. That's perfect. You guys are doing really good. How many tequilas do you own? Okay, we're doing nosing and tasting right now. Molasses and the Espinita Repo 2. I'm getting more sense with the more I know. Yeah, there you go. You'll pick up more if you can spend some time there. I don't do that in the video because nobody wants to see me sitting there smelling it all the time. But yeah, you can spend some time with it and see what kind of things you're picking up. And the more you can spend time with it, the more you can start picking out little things that are in there as well. And not just, the main things that come in. And when I do my tasting notes and stuff, when I do those on the video, I try to keep them so they're relatable. I don't, come out and bust out whether it tastes like wet cement or moist forest bark or stuff like that. Because, I mean, who eats forest bark and who licks cement, right? So I try to keep it with things that most people can understand and have experience with. There's some people that go crazy on these things like, oh, it smells like boot leather and moist rainforest and dogwood bark. And it's like, okay, you walking around eating forest ground and chewing the bark off a dogwood tree. Is that what you're telling me? It doesn't have, a lot of that stuff's just egotistical crap, and I don't buy into it. So you'll never see me say stuff like this on this channel. Yeah, okay, Ubalda picks up cinnamon. Smell a lot of what I could describe as sweet smells, like cookies. There you go. So what you're picking up there is a little bit of the baking spices, because you get people identify those as cookies, like cinnamon raisin cookies and stuff has the spices in there as well, the cinnamon and some nutmeg and stuff like that in there as well. Hey, Shaman, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I am glad to share my knowledge, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. I'm here to help you guys. You guys know that too, right? All right, so what is this? Yeah, I do smell some baking spice. Usually pick out cinnamon, nutmeg. There you go. You'll find those a lot in tequila, because that's basically what, when you ever bite into a piece of juicy baked agave, cooked agave, that's what you taste. It's all that. It's an explosion of that. There's like nothing else. It's just pure that. And then when it's mixed with the water and stuff, it's diluted down, so you get to find more in it. It's not so over the top. Hello, all. Just poured a G4. Oh, G4. There's a lot of good stuff in G4. Hey, brother, you're doing things right with that shirt on. A cowboy. Yeah. Well, we need quarterback help. So I'm hoping that we get that squared away. I was at the game in Dallas when Dak broke his leg. So I don't think I'm quite good luck. That was my bucket list, to go there to AT&T Stadium, and I made it. And my game there, he broke his leg really badly, and it was horrible. But I love being at the stadium. It was great. I was like, oh, in heaven. If the cinnamon and nutmeg are associated with baked agave, what aromas are related to aging in the oak barrel? Okay, so barrel spices and stuff are more with what you're looking for. Oak, you're looking for vanilla, because there's a particle called vanillin that is naturally in wood, where it draws out that vanilla flavor. And then the charring of that, or the toasting of that, can give it more of a caramel and chocolate flavor from the vanillin inside. So you're looking for, vanilla, chocolate, caramel, oak, like wood. Like if you've ever worked on something where you've got wood panels and stuff, or sawdust, you always can detect that oak or wood scent. And sometimes if you get sawdust in your mouth, you can taste it. It's that kind of thing. So, or even if you work with cedar planks with cooking salmon, it gives it that woody kind of flavor to it. You'll detect some of that in there as well. And with French oak, it's a whole different animal, where it has this kind of interesting sweetness to the wood that you'll get. And that's why they use it a lot with wines, because it adds additional sweetness with the woodiness that comes from French oak. And French oak's typically never charred. It's normally toasted. So a lot more of the oils from the wood are drawn out. So you get that more of a nuttiness from it. So you can look for nuttiness. You can look for vanilla. You can look for chocolate, caramel. There's things like that that come from the barrel. All right, what is this? Oh my God, big. Thanks. I just tried sniffing some Cabo Wabo Blanco. I had the back of the cupboard. What a difference. Almost all alcohol. Yeah, you can pick up the medicinalness of it because it's not made right, and there's more tails in there. So you're getting a little more methanol in there, and it's just, it's just not made well. So you're getting not good smells. And so you can detect that in the poorer quality stuff. You smell it and it smells medicinal. Or if you smell something and it's straight out vanilla cake, a cupcake kind of smell to it, then you're looking at additives in there, because additives will overpower everything in the tequila. They don't let any of the subtleties come through. It's just pure in your face cupcake, vanilla caramel, and you're not picking anything else up out of it because the additives are taking everything else. Excuse me. Ubaldo, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. I'm great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a small little class. We only have 41 students in here. Hopefully you're all wearing the masks and staying socially distanced from each other. We don't want to have a COVID outbreak, a super spreader event here. So hopefully you guys are paying attention to the public health guidelines. All right. I get whiskey overtones in the aged tequilas, which is why I like Blancos more. Yeah, you will pick up some of the whiskey if it's aged in a used bourbon barrel. Especially if it's new, because what happens when you're aging stuff in oak barrels, what happens is you put your whiskey or your tequila in the barrel, right? And it sits in the barrel. And what happens is when the temperatures rise and fall in the barrel room, as well as the humidity, the barrel will expand and it'll shrink. So picture like a lung, right? It expands and it shrinks. And when it does this, since there's no air coming in, and it's supposed to be airtight, when it expands, it's sucking some of that tequila and the whiskey into the wood of the barrel. And then it releases it, and then it draws it in and it releases it. And so the whole time it sits in there, the tequila is being drawn in and out of the barrel. The barrel is actually kind of like a living organism when it's in the barrel room. And so it's important to keep it moist. Don't let it dry out, so you don't get more water evaporating too, because water, when it comes in and out, it will evaporate out of the wood in the environment that it's in. And that's called the angel share. And so it becomes more potent alcohol-wise when it comes out of the barrel at the end. So when it breathes like that, the alcohol comes in and out, and it starts grabbing those vanillin and the other substances that are in the wood naturally and drawing them into the tequila or into the whiskey. The first thing it draws is the color. So you notice when you put something in a barrel or you aging it with a piece of wood, the first thing it does immediately is it starts turning a lighter brown. And it's because the color is the first thing to come out of the wood. The color really doesn't add any flavor to it. If you've ever tried an aging project, you can taste when it first starts changing color, taste it, and you won't really taste anything because it's kind of like a tea where it's just the color. But the longer it stays in there, the more it moves in and out of the barrel or the wood, pulling these vanillin and other particles into the tequila or into the whiskey and changing the flavor profile. Now with tequila, they typically don't re-char the barrel. Some brands do, but they typically don't re-char the barrel. So you don't get the burnt smokiness that you'll get in a whiskey, because they really like to char the inside of the barrel. So they just use what's left in it. Like G4, they'll pick a 25-year aged whiskey barrel. So by then, most of the char's gone. So when you look at their extra añejo and you go, wow, this is really light for an extra añejo, it's because most of the char from that barrel is gone. And see, they use the fresh Dickel barrels. And since that's been breathing for 25 years, sucking the whiskey in and out, there'll be some whiskey flavors in your tequila because it's drawing it out of the wood as it's aging inside the barrel. So you will pick up whiskey in it as well. And sometimes, you know, when people say, oh, it's hot, it's because it picked up some of the whiskey hotness as well coming out of it. I bought some G4 Extra Neo, not the 5-year. What's the flavor on that one? I tune in almost drinking Guinness and rye bourbon. I don't want to mix it. Yeah, well, the flavor, it's aged in Dickel barrel, so it's got a nice, and it's still very agave forward, so you get the nice bourbon, a little hints of bourbon to it, but you get really nice vanilla and caramel and chocolate, dark chocolate coming through on that one. I like the 5-year. It's my favorite of all the G4 expressions. I like it better than the 55 one too. People want to argue with me about that, but I prefer it. I'm in Florida. Watch out for the people with the symptoms, not masks. Hands of the yeah. There you go. Excuse me here. My allergies are kicking in. Solto por siempre, straight up leather and shoot. Yes. You can pick. Like what I really like when you smell Soltos, especially like depending on what Desilerian they use, it smells like if you walked into like out here in California where there's lots of equestrian areas, so you can walk into bridal shops that sell like saddles and stuff, and it has that wonderful smell of fresh leather in there. And when you smell a Soto, it has that wonderful smell of like fresh, like saddle leather and horse leather, even like fresh leather boots that you can pick up when you're smelling it. It smells really good. And yeah, shoot a little bit of a polished end of it. There's a little bit of smokiness in there too, because they cook it in underground pits. And then, yeah, sweet, sugary, sweet cinnamon-like taste on it. It's really, exactly, yeah. You should try the Senior Soto. That one blew me away too on the flavor profile of it. But you can pick up some of these really interesting flavors from it. Do you ever find coconut aroma coming into play when American oak is used? When it comes from... Yeah, sometimes coconut. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, there's some, it depends on what the barrel's been through or what it's been used for. I picked up coconut in the single barrels from Ocho. All right. So now that we've been playing with the noses on these things a lot, let's get into tasting. So the first thing you want to do, you never judge anything on your first sip. Okay. Because you want to prep your mouth and your gums for 40% alcohol coming into your mouth. So the first thing you want to do, and I do this normally off camera before I do the tasting, just to get myself ready for it, because I don't think you guys want to see me doing it. So the first thing you want to do is take a mouthful and just swish it around your mouth, get it through your gums, get it all over your mouth, and then just swallow. And you'll notice you get the burn and stuff, and because your tongue and your gums are going, oh shit, you know, here it comes, and they're getting themselves ready for 40% or more alcohol, depending on what you're drinking. You get that burn that happens at first, and then all of a sudden, you know, it'll stop. Hola, ¿cómo está? Welcome. Bienvenidos. Have you ever had Santi? No. Actually, I tried it once. I tried a shot of it. It was horrible. I didn't like it at all. Are you the G455? This is the best tequila I've had. The 5 years also great though, so I can't. Well, great. Thank you, Dustin, for not holding it against me. I appreciate that. Do you know if we absorb alcohol through our nose? Yes, actually, we do. Yes, we do inhale it through. We will ingest alcohol through our nose. That's definitely the mucous membranes will pick up ethanol and it will get into your system. First extra name was number 1 tequila. Very good. All right. So after we've got that and we got our mouth all prepped and we're ready for it, now we want to do our tasting part. Now, what we want to do is when we put the tequila in our mouth, we want to swish it around and we want to get all over our tongue and all over the inside of our mouth and allow it to hit all of the taste buds that are all over the place, because certain things can detect certain parts, you know, more sweeter towards the back of your mouth, more savory towards the front of your mouth. And so you want to kind of just swish it around and allow it to explore the inside of your mouth, and then swallow and start picking out flavors that you're getting from it after you do that, and just kind of let the flavors kind of ring through from your taste buds. You'll always see me doing that in the video. From this, I'm getting really nice cinnamon and baking spices coming in on the front. It definitely has a citrus kind of flavor to it, almost like a tart citrus grapefruit kind of flavor. I love grapefruit in the morning with my breakfast. I always get fresh grapefruit and cut a slice, cut it in half, share it with my daughter. So I'm definitely picking up some kind of a citrus grapefruit. And then I'm getting some of that bitterness coming in too, but it's got a little bit of that black licorice kind of taste. So that's more of an anise or anise, however you want to say it, kind of taste to it. And then it finishes, I'm still having some heat coming through. And then it finishes with a hint of sweetness on the tongue with the heat there carrying it through. So you want to kind of describe what you're experiencing throughout the whole experience. And so I'm still have a little heat there. It's lasting a long time. So I'm going to say the finish on this is long. It's got a nice long finish to it. So let's see what you guys are start posting your tasting notes. I want to see what you guys are tasting on your tequila. Yeah, go boys. Let's see some of your guys' tasting notes. Finishes with a bit of shoe leather. It is the closest way I can describe. Okay. A little leatherness to it. Okay, that's fine. Are you picking up, you're picking up agave on the front, or are you picking it up at all? Or is it just mostly woody, or are you picking up a fruitiness like your cherry or anything? Or what are the different things that you're picking up that you can describe? That's what we want to hear. Tell me about your experience. I want to know. I want to know what you're sensing while my dogs are barking madly in the background. My attack poodles. 2 posts up. Okay, agave, maybe briny. Okay, so briny is something you can sense too, and it's kind of like if you've ever had olive juice out of the jar. It's got this vegetal salty kind of brininess to it, which you'll find a lot in tequila, especially with blancos. Finish with shoe leather. Okay. Hey, hombre, I'm sipping on some Fortaleza Blanco and I'm picking up like an olive artichoke brine. There you go. Yes. Yes. And especially Valle tequilas, they do tend to be presence of these olive brines and stuff because of the mineral rich ground and the mineral rich water that they're sucking on down there. So yeah, that's very good. Definitely taste an oak up front. Okay. And then spices. Okay. I also get red wine type of finish. And yes. Okay. Very good. And you're doing the Imperial, right? So that does, those do go into some wine barrels, I believe. So yeah, that's good. The red wine finish is good. Now, how would you describe the red wine finish? Would it be more of like Cabernet Cab Franc, or would it be more of a rosé, a lighter red, or how would you describe the red wine? Can you get a little more into detail? Are you getting a grapiness from it? Can we break it down to a grapey fruitiness to it? You want to try to break things down a little more too. Just don't sound, well, they don't sound appetizing, but it could be nice, especially like if you do a Triasolto. It's got that leather and earthiness to it, which is really nice. And until you experience it and try it, you don't really know. But it may not sound great, but it's not bad at all, really. Called it oak too. It's hard to describe. Okay, yeah. There's a bunch of different things you can call it, but oak is just very generic. It's like, okay, it tastes like oak. All right, so what to you tastes like oak? What are things? Try to break it down into bigger crumbs or little crumbs from the big crumbs. Tell us, pick out the ingredients that you're detecting in it. Get more specific. Share so we can identify more of the flavors and relate more to what you're talking about. Ocho la rainwater nose. Okay, good. Mineral in the front with a strong agave finish. There you go. You can detect the mineral in this from the water and the Ocho for sure. You could want to chew on some sticks. That's fine. It's by you. My dog does. Didn't hurt him. I don't chew on sticks, so I don't. Should we? Okay, we did that one already. Fortaleza, agave, caramel, light vanilla, very good. Some spice from the oak, definitely. Yeah, you would definitely pick up some spiciness from the oak. Good. So that's very good. So you got agave up front, you got some caramel, some light vanilla mixed in there, and then a little spiciness, oak spice, which is perfect. That's very good. Good job. How long do you let your tequila breathe before you take your first sip? I don't let it breathe. It's not human. I don't let it breathe. By me popping it into the glass and just swirling it around like I talked about in the beginning, it allows it to open up enough for me. And then, so I'll take another sip here for this. Oh, good. Definitely baking spices, cook the cinnamon, strong, little citrus fruitiness in there, like a tart citrus, more, but not sour citrus. So it's more of a grapefruit kind of tart citrus in there. Definitely picking up anise with a black licorice, hint of it in there to kind of balance things out. Finishes with a nice cinnamony sweetness on the tongue. Heat just stays there. It's just, the heat's just lingering. It's hovering around my mouth, just keeping that flavor right there, right on the back of my tongue, which is just fantastic. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'm not super into red wine, so I probably wouldn't describe it well, but I would want to say more dry with some fruit. There you go. Okay, that's good. Dry with some fruit. Now, can you pick out what kind of fruit it is? Can you get a little deeper into the fruitiness and see what kind of fruit you detect, and what kind of fruit maybe you've had that you can relate to the flavor? That's where it starts getting really interesting when you start digging down deep. I think I taste some pepper and spice and sweetness, and definitely El Tesoro does have a pepperiness to it. Definitely. I agree with you on that. I've detected pepper in it as well. G4's got a lot of pepper in it, a lot of pepperness. So they're from the same area, so you're looking at the same kind of soil and stuff. So pepperness is definitely something that you can find in a good Blanco tequila. One of your guests and you suggest a bit of breathing with a little bottle. Can't hurt to let it breathe. No, you can let it breathe, but I just pop it open and drink it. It breathes in the glass when I'm swirling it. If you want to let it breathe, that's fine. You're just letting alcohol escape, and it'll breathe in your glass while you're drinking it. Really, you just let it do that. That's fine. You don't need to let it breathe. It's not like it's drowning. Now, what I like to do, especially with a French oak, now French oak will change its flavor profile as you're drinking it. So there's nothing saying that you have to slam it down right away. I mean, this has been sitting in the glass here now for 5 minutes, 7 minutes. It's been breathing. The longer it sits in the glass, the more it breathes. So I don't let it breathe before I take the first sip. I take the first sip, and then I just let it sit, and then I'll drink it the rest of the time and see if it changes. Ramos, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Your content too. If you roast you, thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy the channel, and thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. All of you guys mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you came here today to spend this time going over nosing and tasting and such. I appreciate it. So, yeah. If you want to let it breathe, let it breathe. It doesn't hurt. Exactly. You can let it do that. Kyle, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm always here, glad to help you guys. I'm glad it's helpful, and let's keep going. We're not done yet. So let's keep tasting and seeing, what kind of things we detect and working off each other's ideas. Cherry and Tahoe. Okay. So I don't know what Tahoe is, but cherry I can identify with. Yeah, and some tequilas do have a cherry, and the oak can help impart that when it mixes with some of the stuff from the agave. So cherry is good, yeah. And sometimes I'll even break it down to say like a maraschino cherry where it's super sweet cherry, or more of a Bing cherry where it's not as sweet but there's a little more tartness to it. And so you can break it down depending on what your your cherry preferences are. Now I can identify the two because I, as a kid, used to drink Shirley Temples and used to get extra maraschino cherries, put into my Sprite and Coke with the little maraschino cherry syrup. So I always love a good sweet maraschino cherry. But then also, I go to Costco and we buy these big containers of Bing cherries, the really dark red ones. And so sometimes just puts them in a bowl and just snack on those. And I can identify that flavor as well. So you want to pick out things that you've had experience with and say, okay, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of maraschino cherries when you pop them. You know, even if you go to a bar and the bartender turns her back and you grab some cherries out of her caddy and start eating the cherries, which they really don't like you doing. But you can identify that as well, or olives or whatever you want to pick out of their things. Those are some extra flavors that you can identify when you're tasting stuff. The only downside to sipping El Tesoro Extra Neo is about $10 a sip. This is expensive. Yeah, it is an expensive fee, but it's $10 a sip when you're at a bar. It's not $10 a sip at home because it's only like $90 for the El Tesoro Extra Añejo. So you should get more than 10 or 9 pours out of it. All right, so what are we looking at now? Grape, not Tahoe. Okay, grape. Okay. I don't know. I didn't know what Tahoe was. Grape is good. Yeah, you can identify grape and you know, the more descriptive you can get, the more people can identify and understand what you're tasting. And you can spend some time with it and just try to pick it out. You don't have to do it right off the bat. There's people that taste with me all the time that then will comment later, say, I never picked out these flavors and stuff until I actually spent time watching your video and tasting along. And then all of a sudden I'm going, okay, yeah, I taste that now. So it's, you know, that kind of thing, the practice and tasting along with the videos. A lot of people do it. Can help you identify and pick out more flavors too. And then you can pick out your own flavors. You don't have to stick with what mine say. There's a lot of people that come up with all different kinds of flavors other than what I describe, because I don't typically get into the weird stuff when I'm doing it. Yes, with friends around, I need to decide how good friends they are and how much. Exactly. You don't bring out the good stuff when you have friends around that don't appreciate the tequila. You know, if you have friends that are like, oh, I just like shots. I just want to do shots, you know, so just grab some lime and some salt. It's like, all right, you know, and you grab your bottle of Hornitos that was gifted to you that you don't want to drink, and you give that to them while you pull out a nice Blanco or El Tesoro G4 or whatever that you sip on yourself. I'm like, oh, can I try that? You're like, no, you're drinking that gasoline stuff. You don't need to try it. Ubaldo agrees with you, Cliff, as did I. So there you go. So what are you guys tasting? Let's hear some more of your tasting notes from what you're sipping. And if you haven't said what you're sipping, try to include that in there too, so I kind of know what tequila you're sipping on. I really like this Pura Sangre Fuerte Blanco. This is really good. So tasty. Wonderful agaveness right all over the place. A little bit of that fruitiness. This is good. So come on, let's see some more tasting notes. Anybody else have anything else they want to on their tasting notes? All right, let's see. Here we go. Tasting G4 El Tesoro Blanco now. Okay, they're similar in sweetness. The El Tesoro has more green olive, and G4 is more like fresh grass and mineral water. Very good descriptions. I like that. Very good. G4 has more sweetness like birch water. Okay, very good. I'm not sure what birch water is. I've never had it. I can't identify birch water, but if it's something you identify, that's great. And I'm sure, I don't know if other people here know what birch water is, but if they do, I'm sure they'll be able to relate with what you're sensing. So yeah, I think G4 is definitely sweeter than El Tesoro. El Tesoro is more dry, but I find that El Tesoro is more peppery and vegetal, where G4 is more fruity. You get more citrus and pepper in that than you do in El Tesoro. El Tesoro has a hint of pepper, but not as much as G4. But it all depends on the batch too, because each batch changes, so it depends on what batch you're drinking. Let's hear from some of the tequila friends who hadn't posted. Yeah, it's some of you that haven't posted. Post up what you're tasting, and no one's going to ridicule you. We just want to hear what you're sensing and the tequila that you're drinking. So feel free to post what tequila you're drinking and what tastes and flavors that you're detecting. Also, Repo is showing some vanilla on the mouth. Interesting because I wasn't smelling it earlier. So cool to see. Yeah, see? Things do change. You will pick things up. Now, if you really want to try something interesting, on my El Tesoro Repo single barrel buy, amazing flavors come out of that. Really different. It's got, you get the cooked agave, the cinnamon and the baking spices coming through on it. But it also comes with like a cinnamon, like a Mexican flan kind of flavor with the maple syrup in there as well. Really super tasty. It's kind of like, what is it? The creme brulee. And then it has a fruitiness mixed in there, and it finishes with this really nice caramel vanilla sweetness on the tongue. It is a super good single barrel. I'm really proud and glad that we're getting this one for the group. So you guys have to check that out when it comes in. It's supposed to come in next month. Can I suggest some tequilas that have strong scents and would let us work on our notes? Sure. If you've picked up the Ocho single barrels selects, those are really interesting on the nose. Some other ones that the 1-2-3 line, he really, because he toasts the wood and stuff, it really gets some interesting notes on those where you can pick up some really different things. Grassiness and interesting notes too. The Calle 23 Criollo will blow your mind on all the stuff that you can draw out of that. So try grabbing that as well. And it's so complex and deep. You can spend an hour smelling and tasting that and coming up with all different kinds of flavors that you're drawing out of it. And the G4 108 proof Blanco, crazy complex, crazy different. I mean, I was pulling all kinds of bananas and fruit and grass and avocado, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff coming out of that because of the way it's fermented and stuff, and the fact that it's so rich and deep with all the tequila, and it's not watered down at all. And they used wild yeast in there too, so it really drew some interesting characteristics from the area around where in Jose Maria, where he's Jesus Maria, where the distillery is located. What has been one of the best aromatic experiences that you've had with a Blanco tequila and mezcal? If you have the time to answer the second part. Well, like I said, the G4 108 proof Blanco is crazy good on the nose, and so is the Calle 23 Criollo. So complex on the nose. I could have spent like an hour there sniffing it, coming up with different notes and stuff off the nose on that. It is so complex and rich. Also, if you've tried the 2013 Coseca, just crazy nose notes on that as well. There's so many things you can pick out if you just spend time just nosing it and trying to detect all the stuff that comes through on it. You can actually spend a long time there and pick up all different kinds of different notes from it. And the same on the flavors. The Calle 23 Criollo, amazing flavor profile, so complex, so much going on in that. And the same with the Coseca 2013. I made sure I stashed a few bottles of that because it's just so complex on the flavor profile. I do have the 2018, and I'll be reviewing that, and I'm excited to tell you guys about that one when I do the review. All right, a while back I picked cake batter and butterscotch while sipping the soda. Okay, yeah, I haven't. What did I do? I did their Blanco. I didn't do their Reposado. I'll have to, when I do the Reposado, I'll see if I detect the same thing. But that's typically a sign of additives. It depends, on what its age, but that's typically a sign of additives. If there's nothing else in there but cake batter and butterscotch, they're dousing it with some additives. When you're tasting your tequila, when do you feel that you have arrived at a definitive point to assess the taste? I usually drink a tequila at least a few times before I tell someone about it. I mean, I do that, with you guys. I open the bottle. It's brand new when I do the reviews. And I do that because I don't want to go in with preconceived notions when I'm telling you about it. Instead, I want to give you my first impression and how I feel about it. And, I normally, it takes me an hour or so to shoot the videos. And sometimes, before I do different segments, I'll wait and just kind of see what other things I'm getting as I'm doing them and filming them and just editing them in. But, I could pour one glass and sit down and just spend some time. I sip very slowly. I don't drink very quickly, and just give it some time to see if it's going to change and express itself during the whole time I'm sipping it, from the time I start the glass to get to the end of the glass. And, I'll see what it's like then. There's never been anything that I've tasted up front and didn't like and then liked later. I've never had that. And I've never had something that I tasted up front and liked and didn't like when I got to the end of it. So I've never had anything change that dramatically. Normally, right off the bat, if I didn't like it, it just got worse. And if I liked it, sometimes it got better. Sometimes it stayed the same. So it all depends. All right, what is this? Asombrosa La Rosa Reposado. What do you think? I haven't had the La Rosa. I had their 5-year. When it came out of 1146, I liked it a lot. I have the 5-year up here now. I'll have to try it. I'll see, but I know it was really sweet out of 1146. And I talked to Enrique about it, and he said, no additives, just, they use different kind of alcohol barrels. So I want to see whether they're using additives now at the new distillery or not. I'll review that. I'll do the 5-year extra añejo from Asombroso. Agave up front, green olive, very good. Light pepper, nice. Some citrus. Can't tell if it's orange or grapefruit. Soft and smooth, not too complex. Very good. That's a very good description. That has me interested in the Fortaleza Blanco. Good job. You're a pro. You want to do the next video for me? I think Pasote has a sweeter nose than Fortaleza, even though it has more pepper notes. Yeah. Agave from the Los Altos tend to be sweeter than the agave from the Valle. So that makes complete and total sense. Agave from the Valle tend to be more mineral and floral. So yeah, I can definitely see that. And the pepperiness from Pasote, El Pendillo does have a peppery kind of flavor profile from the tequila that they produce there. I do agree with you on that. My wife is going to think I'm crazy tomorrow when I go to ferment and still shipment it and start opening all the bottles to nose. Well, just don't nose it straight out of the bottles. Just pour yourself a little glass and nose it out of a glass, because all you get is straight ethanol trying to nose it out of the bottle. I have both of them coming. Oh, awesome. What did he ask? Oh, both of those. I think Pasote is okay. What's next? Saludos, bienvenidos. Welcome. Sipping on a bottle of Don Abraham Extra Añejo. Get caramel, vanilla, and a tad of maple on the nose. The palate, the bottle is getting low. Needs a visit. There you go. We do have Don Abraham on there as well, so you can order it. All right, let's see where else we love them both. Great. Okay, yeah. Pasote's a good brand. I prefer G4 more, but Pasote's a good brand. All right, so we're doing good, right? So let's hear some tasting notes from some people. We have 37 people on here now. Let's hear some of your tasting notes, folks, the ones that haven't spoken up yet. I'd love to hear what you're tasting while I'm tasting my beautiful Pura Sangre Fuerte Blanco from NOM 1146. Can you compare which style of tequila is best to nose? Blanco, Repo? It all depends. I mean, there's not a style that's better than another. It's just, depends on what you like. I mean, I can find a lot of complexity in a nice Blanco that I can't find in an Añejo or a Repo. It's just, the Blanco is the blood. It is the lifeblood. It is the soul of any tequila. All right. So I normally, when I try to review a line, I try to review the Blanco first because it is the lifeblood, it is the soul, it is what gives any other expression in that line life. So you want to explore that first and see what kind of things you have. And then so you taste the Blanco first, you nose it, you taste it, you pick out all the scents and what you can detect in it. Then you move to the Repo and you try the Repo and you see what anywhere from 3 to 11 months up to a year of wood aging can do to that Blanco, and see how it changes the flavor profile, right? And so then you move to the Añejo and you can see what anywhere from a year on to up to 3 years does to that beautiful Blanco, and what kind of flavor changes there were from the wood. And then you move to the extra Añejo, which is 3 years or above, and you could see what kind of changes the barrel made to that beautiful Blanco that you tasted and know the lifeblood of. So that's the way I look at it, and that's where you can detect what kind of changes aging does when you find out what kind of barrel. That's why I always tell you what kind of barrel they use, whether it's an ex-bourbon barrel, whether it's a used different whiskey barrel, whether it's cognac or whether it's rum or whatever. If it's just a new oak barrel, I try to tell you, so when you taste it, you can kind of pick out the changes that the barrel put onto that Blanco that we've tried before in a previous review. Does that make sense? Hope it does. If anyone would consider this blasphemy, but I will occasionally blend Valles and Altos Blancos in one glass. It turns out pretty interesting. Try it. Yeah, it's not blasphemy. It's not. It's do what you want to do. If you want to blend them together, great. If the whole thing with tequila, and the reason why I do my channel and to give you guys reviews and to do these reviews and tell you what I'm experiencing is it's about experiences, right? We each want to take a different journey. When you're tasting a good tequila, you want your tequila to take on a journey. You don't want it to insult you and smack you and call your mom names. You want it to take you on a nice journey where it's giving you an experience. So if that means taking a Valle and a Altos tequila, a Blanco, and mixing them together and seeing what you get, go for it. Go for it. Life's too short, right? To not play around and have fun, and especially if you enjoy it. Now, if you don't like it, drink it anyways, because you don't want to waste good tequila, and just don't do it again. Simple, right? All right, I tried comparing as you are describing with the El Tesoro Blanco, then Repo, then Añejo, all good, but I like the Blanco best. There you go. We all have different tastes. We all like different things. I enjoy every expression from El Tesoro. I really do. I think he does it right. And I think the Jim Beam barrels tends to impart like a maple syrupy kind of flavor note to it, or more of like a caramelized vanilla note to it as well, like kind of like a flan or a creme brulee, where they take the torch and they scorch the top of it. That kind of flavoring to it, which I like. I like the way the Jim Beam barrel affects the Blanco, and the Blanco straight up great. It was great for the price. I mean, I haven't seen the price increases here in California yet, but for the old price, it was great. I used it for mixing. That was my well tequila. All right, watching this live at work. Can't wait to get off to try whatever. Great. Yeah, don't get drunk at work. We want you to remain employed. Our employment rate is way too high in the country, and we don't want to have to have you be out of work. We want you making money, so you can keep buying tequila from Ferment and Still. I'm selfish. What can I say? Yeah, priorities. Exactly. Work. Do you think it's possible to taste the Blanco, Repo, and Añejo that are all from the same agave harvest time period? Absolutely. Yeah. Ocho. If you look at the bottom of an Ocho bottle at the year, it'll tell you what field it came from. So if it says 2018 Then it's all from the 2018. Bernie's here. Hey, the party's beginning. Bernie, buddy. Siete leguas. Oh, I love siete leguas. Now, siete leguas, when you do your tasting, you get pepper on that puppy, right? It's bold on the pepperiness. That's their signature thing, is like super peppery, like hot peppery. That's their signature taste. Ocho's excellent. I need to get some more. Yeah, and what you want to do with Ocho is, because every year they do a different field and stuff, you can match up the fields, where the same field for the Blanco, the same field for the Repo, and same field for the Añejo, and you can taste them all together to see how the wood affects the agave from it. But you look at the batch too; they'll tell you the batch on it, and you can typically match them up. All right, receiving my tears and Ray Saul today. Hey, great! Glad you're getting your package. Can't wait to try them. I'm done getting used to some wonderful Blancos that you've. Oh, great! I'm glad that you. I'm glad you're enjoying the Blancos, and I'm glad you're getting your package from Ferment and Still. I love that place. It's the best agave store on the web. You can't beat it. You really can't. Yeah, submission. There you go. Añejo. Todd, you're going to love them. You are going to love them both. They're both good. Now, you'll notice when you do your tasting of the tiers, you'll notice, try to pick out the different alcohols. Try to see if you can identify the Scotch. Try to see if you can identify the brandy, and try to see if you can identify, what's the other ones? Scotch, brandy, and I keep drawing a blank on the other one. It's not, it's Scotch, brandy. I'm drawing a blank on the other one. I don't know. All right, let's see. We'd love tasting at some point be possible. Pick out a tequila to see how everyone's tasting compares. Yeah, you guys want to do that? Do a group tasting where we pick a certain tequila? I tell you what, we should do. It would be really fun. Sherry, that's it. Sherry, yes. Sherry, it's a wine. That's right. Sherry. Okay, so it's sherry, it's brandy, and it's Scotch. So see if you can pick out each of those. The sherry's going to impart a grapiness to it. The Scotch is going to have a little bit of that smoke peatiness to it. And then the brandy's going to have a little fruity sweetness to it too. So you want to see if you can pick those out when you're going through them. Now, there's no cognac in it. It's brandy. They don't do cognac. It's actually brandy. So it's, cognac is brandy from France, but this is just brandy. They didn't say cognac. So I'm guessing it's brandy from somewhere else. Yeah, sherry was it. That's the one I've drawn a blank on. Thank you. I had a little brain fart. When you get as old as I am, your little senility kicks in, and you don't remember stuff as much. What are the problems with drinking cold tequila compared to room temperature? Well, the problems with drinking cold is you're muting a lot of the flavors and stuff when you drink it cold. It's not releasing the aromas and the flavors and stuff. It kind of mutes it when you drink it cold. So there's things that you won't detect. Try that sometime. Try drinking a Blanco warm, okay, and then put the bottle in the freezer or whatever and chill it, and then drink it again and see the difference between the two. You'll notice a big difference where you get a lot more flavors, a lot more aromas and stuff from it when it was warm and is allowed to express itself than when it's cold and chilled. That's the problems with it. That's where we try to encourage people not to stick it in the freezer, but there's only so much you can do. And of course, the tequila police need to be employed.
Step away from the freezer. You do not put good tequila in the freezer. If you want to store it in there with your Jonitas or your other Cuervo crap, then fine. But if you stick that good tequila in the freezer, we're going to come in with our nightsticks and we're going to get medieval on your ass. Do you understand?
See, that you upset him with that question. So we don't want to do that. Todd, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying this, hanging out and doing this tasting with us. I think this is a really fun thing. We'll try to do more stuff like this too. But I do need to get some reviews done for you guys. So we gotta do more. So you got pepper, cinnamon, spicy, heathy sweetness of cooked agave, fruity like peach or apricot. Very good. Yeah, it does have that spicy pepperiness to it. That's got that heat to it. And that's their signature flavor on the Siete Leguas. And you know, when they're there, they'll tell you that's one of the reasons why they have two factories, and they produce one in the Tahona factory and one in the roller mill factory. And then they take the two flavor profiles and they work in a lab and they blend them together to get the exact flavor profile all the time. So they're very consistent on their flavor profile. It doesn't really change batch to batch because they blend and they mix the Blanco from two different factories to get their signature flavor. Interesting stuff they do there. Fortaleza Blanco has a buttery taste as well, not in a dairy sense, but in richness. Yeah, I know exactly what you need. Creamy butteriness to it. Exactly. Yes. It does have that. And that's from being Tahona crushed. Most Tahona crushed ones will get that buttery kind of sense to it as well. All right. I asked just to hear the...
We're coming to your house, Cliff. We know where you live.
Don't upset the tequila police. Now you got them angry.
Don't defund the police.
Okay, there you go. Don't defund them either. I asked the judge. Oh, okay, that was all right. So, what do you guys think? Yeah, it's laughing with Cliff. People like the tequila police.
I find Cliff just annoying because he always asks these questions all the time that upsets people. Like he asks Felipe Camarena, what is he going to do about changing the name of G4? Like, who would do that?
Shh, quiet. Don't upset Cliff. He's a friend. All right, so what do we got here? He meant to say earthy cooked agave, nice viscosity. Yeah, there you go. Okay. That's good. Yeah, earthiness in there. There's all kinds of good things that you can find. Just poured my last Espinita. I need the shipment to show up tomorrow. It's in Florida, so chances are good. Yes, it is. I saw that it was in Florida. I checked up for you. I did see that it was but Espinita's out of stock here, so we can't get it in. But it's okay because there's other brands that I prefer better, like Sangre Alteña, if you guys haven't tried that yet. My favorite budget brand. It's great. And if you're looking for a favorite high-proof Blanco, boom! That's it right there. Ferment and Still has it in stock. I begged, I pleaded, I talked to Jake Lustig and said, get me some of this now. And we have it, as well as the Repo and the Añejo and the 5-year extra Añejo. Oh, so good. So pick up some Pura Set, $39.99, dude. High proof Blanco for $39.99. You can't beat it. You can't. And it's amazing. NOM 1147. Great stuff. See, look. 1146, sorry. 1146 right there. Boom. It's made right by the right people. Get you some before it's gone. And then you're going, oh, I wish I would have tried the Fuerte Blanco. Mark was raving about the Pura Sangre, but it's all gone. I put it up the first thing this morning and I sold out the case. And so I had to beg for more cases. We got them. So now it's up there. So don't waste any time and make sure you grab it. Have you tried tequila called Como's Añejo? Price is $119.99. No, it's new. No, but I'm betting it's probably an additive bomb. Just like Cincoro, which was $134 for the Añejo or something ridiculous like that. I'm like, oh yeah, you're just paying for the additives. They took it from a place that makes 110 different brands and doused it with additives to make it taste sweet like candy because Americans
don't know any better. They like the sweet tequila, so That's what we're going to give them. And that's what Michael Jordan wants for you, to drink sweet tequila that's not natural. Is that what you want for yourself? That's the question you have to ask.
Shame on Michael Jordan. All right, so next order will include, oh, there you go, Pura Sangre. Don't forget that name. It means pure blood. Pure blood, like a thoroughbred, like a horse thoroughbred. I love this Blanco. This bottle will be gone by the end of this week. We're going to be spending some quality time together, this bottle and I, because I have another bottle coming. So I bought the Blanco, I bought the Repo, and I bought the Añejo. And I have the 5-year extra Añejo already because this stuff is so good. I'm going to review them all for you guys, and I'm going to share with you how good this tequila is. The Blanco, this one reviews are already up on the site. So you too can be spending quality time watching the video review and seeing what I say about it. It's for $39.99. I mean, you can't beat it, really. You really can't. After trying some of your recommendations, I'm trying to give away Don Julian. Yes. Thank you.
Will you marry me? Seriously, will you marry me? I like good tequila too. My name's Becky. Nice to meet you.
There you go. All right. So is it all advertising? That's why Patron is available anywhere, but G4 and El Tesoro aren't behind the... No, you know, the reason why El Tesoro and... El Tesoro you can find in a lot of bars that you can't find G4. The reason why it's because of marketing budgets. Now, you know, what is it, Paul Mitchell brand, the guy, what's his name, John Paul, whatever his last name is, the guy that owned that, put a lot of money into marketing, and they spent a lot of money on advertising and tried to really build a reputation or an image of it being a luxury brand. And they're very effective in their marketing, and that's why everybody knows Patron, and that's why all the bars buy it, because they think everybody wants to drink it. It's a luxury brand. You see the rappers using it. So it's all about the marketing dollars there, where people like Felipe don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, especially the importers to bring it into the U.S. as well. You know, they're spending a lot for the tequila, and, you know, they're buying small batches. They don't have the marketing dollars and stuff that some of the other, you know, Patron does with, you know, John Paul, whatever his Jardines, whatever his last name is, the guy from Paul Mitchell, hair products, had to spend on marketing. He had the Paul Mitchell marketing machine behind that tequila, working on it. So that's the main reason. It's because of marketing dollars. And so that's why people like myself putting together the Ferment and Still, the producers love the site, and all the brands love the site. A lot of the distributors love it, and they're doing anything they can to help support me with it, because they want a place where they have, you know, full access to people coming in and getting it and seeing it and knowing what it is, and not having to deal with 1942 and Cuervo and all these other things that, you know, aren't nearly as good as them. So on, you know, Ferment and Still, you can go there and literally just throw a dart or just close your eyes and stab at the screen, and anything that you pick on there is going to be well made, solid tequila. You know, it's just different flavor profiles, so you have to find one that suits your flavor profile. But you can't miss, they're all well made. You won't find any additive tequilas or diffused tequilas on there. What's my favorite of all time? Oh, really? That's like, hey, you have 3 kids. Pick which one you love the most. You ever tried Don Lorenzo Reposado Reserva? I don't recall. No, I haven't tried Don Lorenzo. No. Have you tried Suavecito tequila? No, I haven't tried Suavecito. Opinions on it? On what? Suavecito? I haven't tried Suavecito. Does F&S have a storefront? No, we're strictly online. Now, brick and mortars cost more money, so, and then we have to get a liquor license and all that other stuff. Instead, we do this. We partnered with somebody with a liquor license that's handling our fulfillment. So, Nope, it doesn't have a storefront. We're not a brick and mortar. We're strictly online, and we have a big warehouse facility that's handling all of our fulfillment for us, which I constantly have to keep an eye on and make sure they're getting the shipping done. So, and then I pick which brands we're getting, and I order them and have them stored at the warehouse, and make sure that we get what we want, and I've curated the whole selection on our website. So that's the way it kind of works. Depends on which kid did. Yeah, it depends on which one's in the doghouse or not, right? Exactly. I don't have a favorite tequila of all time. There's so many I like, and for so many different reasons. And somebody asked earlier, how many different tequilas do I have? The last count was about 465. So I think probably now I'm more of like 490, almost 500. You guys can't see my closet over here too. My closet's filled with tequila. I've got shelves with tequila lining up all the way up the top, and then the shelves up at the top there all filled with tequila. It's just loaded. I got tequila, and I got tequila on the floor here. I got a mezcal line that I'm going to be reviewing down here. I got bottles everywhere in here. My wife walks into this office all the time, and she just looks around, and she looks at me, and she goes,
"This is disgusting. What does somebody need all this tequila for? This is disgusting. You're sick. You need help. I'm leaving."
And then she walks out of the room. Anybody else have that same experience? All right, so the good thing about good tequila is no hang. Exactly. It makes it easier to start the next day with the person. Exactly. You smell good. And yes, I tell my wife, yes, I am sick. It's a passion. And I love you. And then she just walks out and pours herself a glass of wine. So there, she likes wine. I like tequila, right? I can't drink a bottle of tequila in a night like she can a bottle of wine. So they hang around longer and we become friends, right? We hang out with each other. He said, I'm glad you're like, yeah, people know. They're laughing because they've had it happen to them, right? You got the story like, oh, look, honey, look, this new tequila's here, and I heard great things, and so-and-so makes it, blah, blah, blah. Like,
what do you need another bottle of tequila for? We have 3 on the counter at home.
Yeah, honey, but they're different.
No, tequila is tequila. It can't be that different. We'll just pour some glasses, we'll have some lime, we'll some salt, and then we just go at it, and then we drink, and we get drunk, right?
No, we sip these, honey. And they all have wonderful flavors.
You're just saying that because you want to spend more money on tequila. It's not going to happen.
And then you end up buying it anyways. And then she's mad at you for a night, and then you're good. No one does this. Well, I'm glad you like them. I come from a radio background, so I like doing the voices. My wife sounds just like yours, but she does that like El Tesoro. Oh, she does like, oh, that's good. My wife doesn't like tequila unless it's got additives in it. So go figure. She's like, oh, where's that Cava de Oro that we had when we first started? I really like it. It's got nice caramel in it and stuff. It's like, yeah, honey, those are additives. Oh, I like the additive ones. But now I occasionally bring her nice ones that come down and like, oh, like taste this one. And like the number 2 from the 1, 2, 3 organic line. She really liked those. She goes, oh, this is really nice. She doesn't like the burn from the high proof alcohol when it burns down her throat. She's used to the 12% or whatever that wine is, 8 to 12%. So when it sits 40%, so I always tell her, just let it burn for the first sip and then let the second sip will work on tasting something to see what you see. She's getting better at that. Take some bottles off your hand. I have a truck and I can bring them. That's okay. No, I think I'm good. All I need to do is basically say, hey, you guys, you want to come over to my house and drink some tequila? How many of you would turn me down for that? I said, hey, I'm going to stack up a bunch of really good tequilas in the backyard. We'll pull some chairs around, you guys, and we'll just do tastings and we'll just drink until we polish off a bunch of bottles. Who wants to come and do it? Raise your hand. Let me see your hands. Come on, raise your hands, guys. If you want to come over to my house and tap into my huge collection and drink some tequilas, Let me know if you're in. All right. Watch how many people say yes, yes, me, yes, yes, me. There's never anybody that doesn't want to come to the Tequila Hombre's casa de Tequila Hombre. How do we order again? You go to fermentandstill.com and you can pick whatever you want. You have to be 21 years of age, and there's certain states we don't ship to. I'm sorry, my Ohio peeps. Being from Ohio myself, I felt really bad when they told me we can't ship to Ohio. So, but here, yeah, you want to know that here, fermentandstill.com. There you go, our new store. And I appreciate you guys coming in and purchasing stuff and being really patient as we get through our shipping fiasco this first couple of weeks. I really appreciate you guys not piling on me and stuff. It was a very tiresome and troubling week, and I was committed to making sure that all of your stuff shipped out like I'm always committed to making sure you guys are happy. All right, so what is this? Where are we? When I get real estate closing check, I put most of it under the current account. There you go, your tequila account. There you go. 3 bottles of tequila. How? Mimi. Okay, JD wants to come over. He's got an invite. No, I'm not paying for flights. Yeah, well, actually I am. I'm paying for your tequila flight, but not for your airplane flight. So yeah, I'll pay for your flight. We'll have a flight of Blanco, we'll have a flight of Repo, Añejo, Extra Añejo, and then we can pull out some really special stuff. My home-aged special stuff that will knock your socks off where you'll go, holy mother of God, where did this nectar from the gods come from? If you weren't across the country, I make pulled pork. Dude, I am all over good barbecue. I'm a Midwestern boy, so you got a good barbecue, I am all over it. And even if you want to bring, or come over, I've got a Traeger, so we can fire up the smoker. We can do some barbecue and do some tequila tasting. I am all over it. All over it. You just pick a time. Wash hands. There you go. JD's still laughing. Don't choke, okay, my friend? Don't choke. How much do you think the Corazon Rip Van Winkle is going for? $80? Same thing that it's sold for? I'm outside. Oh, wait, it's being yeah, dang. Well, just don't knock on the door because my dog's all rabid and stuff, so he may tear you from limb to limb. I have to let you know it's okay. And plus, if you're outside, you'd be triggering my Ring door alarm and my theft detection system with bolts of 50,000 bolts of electricity and nail guns that fire on you. It's pretty brutal in my home protection system. All right, Shaman's coming over. Good. We got 2 people. How does El Tesoro compare on the nose against Pasote? Pasote's more mineral, I think. Than I haven't really sat side by side and done them together. But they're both good. I drink them both. I have them both on the shelf. Dustin's in. All right, good. We got 3 people. Who's going to be the designated driver? That's the question. Somebody's got to drive everybody to their hotel room because you're not staying here. After you get tanked, you ain't staying here. Sorry. Yes, we can ship to Michigan. Yes, we do ship to Michigan. Cincinnati is hurt. I know, my friend. And I cry every time I look over at the map and see people from Ohio on the website. And I'm going, oh, my friends from Ohio. I'm so sorry. Here comes Becky. She wants to tell you something.
It's not our fault, okay? Because you elected those morons that made your state a liquor-controlled state. State liquor control. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And you're the morons that elected them. That's what you get. Bunch of pansies hiring people that control your liquor. What are they going to control next? Your birth control? What are they going to control?
Well, I think they do it to just keep people safe. Don't bang on people from Ohio. That's not nice.
There you go. I remember being there and like, oh, we should have some wine. Oh, wait, it's Sunday. You can't buy wine or alcohol on Sunday, even at the grocery store. They put like chains and stuff up over the wine section. And you're like, oh, you can't buy wine on Sundays at the grocery store. It's like, why the hell not? When I moved out here to California, there's liquor stores on every corner. There's even some in between the ones that are on the corner. There's liquor stores everywhere. You can throw a rock and hit a liquor store. It's great. Liquor stores everywhere. It's like, I want to go to the liquor store. Which one? We got that one. We got that one. You got that one. You can go that one. This one's got a better tequila selection, but you can get that one over there. And then this one's got like every lottery scratcher you could possibly want. There's liquor stores everywhere. You can't not see a liquor store here, which I like. I will fly from Washington to Orange County. Well, good. Then you have to drive all the way from Orange County to get to where I'm at. Orange County is a nice place to visit. Put ferment and still address on the wall behind you. I'm serious. I sell things for a living. Yeah, I can just put it there, or I can put it right up here on the screen, right? Boom. Right there on the screen. Fermentandstill.com. All right, what's it? I see I'm down the street. I could take my smoker and do a Texas style. When I was in Texas, that's one of the things that I told my wife, we got to do barbecue. And we went to this little hole in the wall place that was like built in an old gas station. And when we were down there in Texas, and we had the best barbecue I've had in a long time there. It was so good. So good. I love good barbecue. You're making me want to go get barbecue tonight for dinner. The French Laundry restaurant in Cali is on my bucket list. When I go, I'll look you up and make some friends in Florida. Barbecue. I'll make you some Florida. Okay, good. Yeah. The French Laundry, you have to book your reservation a year in advance. And Thomas Keller is a fantastic chef. Makes a fantastic experience there. But your whole menu is pre-selected for you. So you basically pick the day, you set your reservation when you go in. He picks the freshest vegetables and proteins and stuff that he can find for that day. And he prepares a full 5-course meal for you with wine pairing and everything. It's an experience. And you don't want to go there right now because, Newsom's in trouble and being recalled because he had a party there and he's telling everybody else to stay home. So he got busted. All right, Mark Metro's coming. We got 4 people. I got seven chairs around the table, so we can probably fit 2 more, maybe. We're gonna have a party, you guys. Mi hermano, I'll bring you some Buckeyes to enjoy. The caramel Buckeyes, the Brock's Buckeyes. Those were so good. I love those little candy Buckeyes, that caramel with the white filling in them. Oh, those are so good. I wasn't much of a Buckeye nut eater, but the chocolate Brock's Buckeyes, those were always good. But I do love my Ohio State Buckeyes. All right, so what do we got here? I'm from Chicago. Chicago, you guys make pizza the wrong way. Neighborhoods, we took it for bars and corner and bars. There you go. Bars everywhere. Yep. And get your pizza stuffed. Just like your bellies. Pulled pork tacos. Ooh, I'm down. I am so down. I love good pulled pork. I love ribs. I make the best ribs. You guys, if we do a barbecue thing at my house, I'm going to make my ribs. They'll blow your brains. They'll blow your mind away. It's crazy. It's for me. So yes, we ship to Alabama. Yes, we do ship to Alabama. The only states we don't ship to are Mississippi, Ohio, Idaho for some reason. I don't know why Idaho. Mississippi, Ohio, Idaho, Massachusetts, Alaska, and Hawaii. The French Laundry, don't go there hungry. Yeah. It takes a while. It takes all night. It's an all-night experience. And they're small dishes. Thomas Keller does it like the super fancy. And then it ends up costing like $1,000 for the whole night. The sooner you guys get rid of Newsom, the better. Yeah, well, I think he's doing okay with the COVID thing. So I've been happy with the way he's been treating COVID because, it's not like the Florida governor. Oh my God, DeSantis. Ugh, that guy's a moron. Sorry if you're a fan of his, but you guys will see more trouble with him not wanting to help with your public health safety things than all my relatives live in Florida. I got a bunch of relatives up in Orlando and living in the villages up there, and they just Chicago. Oh, real. You know what I like? I like Chicago dogs. We have a place here called Portillo's, which is just fantastic, and I do love going there occasionally and getting my Maxwell Street Polish. But they are so good, and I love having them here in California. We're talking about everything but tequila now. The Hombre, I'm going to Jalisco. What are 4 must-get bottles out there? Don't know why, but I feel like tequila just tastes better when they have Mexican sticker on them. $1,000 and under. Well, you don't need to spend $1,000 in Mexico. I don't think they get that expensive. Most of the good tequilas here. But a good one to get if you want to buy 4 bottles. Here's what you buy. You go to, depends on where you're traveling to, whether they have it or not. Cabo, all the touristy places don't have it. But if you go to like Rosarita or Tijuana has it, or if you go to Guadalajara and tequila and you stay in the Jalisco area, you can find it there. It's Reserva de Gonzales. You get the Blanco, the Repo, the Añejo, and the Extra Añejo. Really good, not imported to the U.S. Very good tequila. Every time I go, those are the bottles I pick up, some of my musts, but I come back with 16 to 20 bottles though in my suitcase. So, but those are 4 that are definitely in there. Is the Reserva de Gonzales. I was drinking the Reserva de Gonzales last night. Yeah, you had a lot of people that died though. A lot of people. You guys were leading in deaths. We have Portillo's in Florida. Oh, awesome. Portillo's, yeah. They started out in a little hot dog wagon in Chicago. That's what I heard. Yeah, they have pictures of it all over the wall. It's been great. All right, you guys, we've done over an hour and a half. I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go get some barbecue because you guys have been talking about barbecue all night. And I am now craving barbecue. All right. Hey, so next Wednesday, I have a special guest for, make sure you'll see it when it pops up on YouTube, but we're getting Lalo from Lalo Tequila. He's going to be our guest next Wednesday for Happy Hour with the Hombre. We still have the Q&A on Monday, so I'll see you guys for that. And then I'll try to crank out a couple reviews between then. I do have a Mezcal Monday that'll be coming up that I'm going to do, and I'll try to crank one out tomorrow for Saturday release. We'll do another review for you guys. So, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the tasting and you learned some stuff, and you now can sit and work on nosing and tasting and better your ability to detect more and improve your palates. And I'd love to hear your experiences along the way and share the journey with you. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So buy the good stuff at Ferment and Still. And salud. Love you guys. Bye.